This video is intended to describe the crystalline composition of a light blade talisman named Ensurance. Designed, archetypally named, to ensure one's capacities of clairvoyance in any given situation as a practitioner to be very clear and to ensure the information received is very, very much aligned with the truth of any given situation of the practitioner's jurisdiction. I will start with main blade banding consisting of labradorite and tourmalated quartz, which actually is clear quartz with black tourmaline actually in the matrix, to produce the frequency buffering like a subcapacitator to have labradorite frequency run through the tourmalated quartz, labradorite, tourmalated quartz ignition sequence like so. Labradorite is a very vast frequency to really explain its beneficial properties, but I'll do my best to keep it as concise and condensed as possible for the description purpose of this video. Labradorite is very much a stone of magic. It's a feldspar-based stone of wind element and very powerful for piercing the veil of waking consciousness to clairvoyantly perceive the intuitive aspect of the underlying causes of energy, particularly in diagnosis for a practitioner, for example, to be able to see clearly by piercing the veil of and utilizing clairvoyance in this aspect to properly perceive the underlying karmic roots of any kind of dis-ease that has manifested as a physical ailment. And that's one thing for diagnostics. The other aspect of the magical potency of labradorite is also increasing the impulses of all varieties of magic. Either be pranic, Reiki, or different healing modalities of energy work will be highly intensified by the transcendent magical veil-piercing nature of this stone, labradorite. Labradorite also ensures the proper elemental balance of earth, fire, water, wind, and spirit in proper alignment, while also creating a force field, a protective shield, if you would, that prevents from basically others tapping into your energy field, as well as any kind of dysfunctional cross-transfer patterns from any clients, for example, or any situation of that nature, to actually buffer and make a force field throughout the aura. By keeping one's highest truth, it ensures the ability to maintain one's inner resources in sight of any kind of malady they are privy to or basically in alignment with, particularly in a practicing situation or even daily life situation too, of disharmonious energies, particularly those being produced by others, for example. So very shielding and magical stone. And like I mentioned earlier, the vast properties of labradorite are quite difficult to put in concise manner because the vast effects they have on one's field is quite dramatic. But to summarize it, a powerful stone of magic, protection, and clairvoyance. And to subcapacitate that right there is the quartz of black tourmaline, which actually is like clear quartz, programmable as well as accelerantable, making up words for this video, where the energy runs through here in a neutral fashion, except the black tourmaline makes a very powerful grounding contact patch. And I'll be employing my crude chakra map for that purpose. Black tourmaline is very powerful for actually grounding the base and the earth stars into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So having that high wind element aspect with the earth grounds and purifies and protects the field even more succinctly to ensure the proper contact patch is actually grounding into the earth and also augmenting and accelerating the protective natural energy shield that labradorite produces. And continuing on to the blade band is the transmutation subroutine ratio, consisting of hematite and smoky quartz running laterally like so, then running up the sides where the leather will be installed to this very top band right here, recirculating the transmutation ratio to here. So it's almost a closed loop circuit of the energy governance coursing through the device, with a transmutation ratio consisting of hematite and smoky quartz very successfully grounds and transmute any negativity of all kind to ensure the contact patch of the high frequency energy of this device has a grounding port and insulation. So hematite strongly stimulates the base, actually is a iron-based metal, crystalline structure that has a very powerful grounding effect. So hematite excels at pulling all stray energies through the root chakra into their earth plane meridian matrix in tandem with smoky quartz, which purifies the entire system and further arcs the energy through the root into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So with that kind of configuration right there, running through this protective shield into this ratio right here, ensures a very insulated, arced, grounded contact patch for practical use of such a high-frequency, veil-piercing frequency broadcast that the labradorite produces as the main blade emanation. And to further describe the top of the apex band, where the necklace will hook into right here, is tanzanite and faceted quartz to work as an accelerator of this frequency, running like so, completing the circuit that vaguely resembles a figure 8. So its perpetual energy of the blade band constantly runs a circuit. Tanzanite is a very effective, perhaps the most effective in the mineral kingdom, of establishing the heart-mind continuity of stimulating the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and soul star 8th chakras, and making a very powerful continuity contact patch of the heart-mind coherence, which is obviously very important for any kind of intuitive work, so that one's mind is linked directly with the heart, and the 5th also gets a boon from this combination as well, from the 4th, 5th, then 6th to 5th combination, as it runs its ignition order, if you would, to produce a very powerful speaking from the heart, and then having all like the knowledge the mind can conjecture into the heart for great amounts of wisdom and insight in tandem with such a high frequency veil piercing device to see the underlying aspects of matter through intuition. It will help ensure the conveyance of such rarefied intuitive knowledge is succinctly comprehensible for those who are being served under the jurisdiction of the wielder of this device. That sums up the blade bands running in the circuit like so. Now we're going to start with the main blade face. This right here actually is a lovely piece of labradorite that was auspiciously gifted to me without much reference right before this commission was undertaken. So that happens oftentimes in the magical crafting of these devices, that the components will magically appear without warning or without reference until the time comes. I must have received this probably 2 days before actually this major device was created, right before the commission was undertaken, so naturally it was gifted to me by auspicious means, by some random stranger pretty much. It was purified, cleansed, and then mounted into the hardware of the operating system of this device, because it's almost like a synchronistic magical gift to have another intensified highlight of the labradorite frequency in a lovely cabochon that's relatively wide and a very beautiful blue hue to it that can even be seen in this video. But in person, in sunlight, it's even more obvious and refractive of its magical potency. So I already described labradorite in great detail, but having another focus point, particularly a convex, a kind of circular broadcast wired to this main apparatus, gives a much more intensified concentration of the protective and intuitive nurturing frequency labradorite produces, right like so, as a very powerful centerpiece of that primary frequency to ensure the intuition of the wielder of this device's impeccability. Above that guy right there is the lovely famous turquoise, which is a stone of wholeness and a very powerful 5th ray focus of earth, fire, water, and wind, hence known as the stone of wholeness, as well as just general wisdom and impeccability by being able to speak from the wholeness of one's soul when they are in practice. To further augment the intuitive wisdom aspects, above that is lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is a strong stimulation of the 5th and 6th chakras, wind elemental stone. And just like labradorite is a very powerful clairvoyance enhancer as well as intuition fortifier to one's perception of the truth of reality. So very much a stone of inner truth that can be utilized for the effectivity of assisting those under their jurisdiction once again. To ensure further the raw intuitive information and be very impeccable with their diagnostics, or assessments. Hence, the architectural name Ensurance has many different variables that ensure the adherence of that frequency set in stone in one closed-loop circuit broadcast. Then on the back side right here is scolecite. Scolecite is a lovely white ray stone of divinity that has a nice stimulation of the 6th and 7th and 8th chakras and chakra column above towards the higher self ratio. And is a very lovely stone of inner peace and bringing a very soothing, calming, divine frequency to the mind, which of course transfers to anyone in the radius of this kind of divine influence. On a more physical level, it's also very fantastic for balancing serotonin levels in the neurochemistry, and its benefits are quite vast as well. Above that is Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite I fondly refer to as goldavite, a gold ray cousin to moldavite right here, was utilized by pharaohs of old to be carved into scarab beetles to be actually set into the finery of their power breastplates that the pharaohs would wear, kind of a semi-derivative of this kind of tech being reverse engineered in this timeline. It was a very powerful stone to stimulate the sacrum and solar plexus, and it also has a strong storm overtone, which actually activates any kind of lazy chakra in the entire energy system. Is very energizing and very potent for manifestation purposes. Hence, that kind of augmentation of solar plexus manifestation prayer intention, if you would, is highly intensified in tandem with labradorite, which is a very powerful fortification of impulses of intentional magic of all kind. And above that, the legendary moldavite is a green ray stone that should not need much introduction in this timeline, but as known, it's a very powerful green ray heart stimulator that aligns one's field to their full dharmic template manifested. So obviously it's gained a lot of infamy in this timeline because it has a way of really reorganizing your life, almost like an artificial Saturn return to one's highest divine blueprint manifest that is not of the false self matrix in their reality. So hence by itself it can be rather volatile in its life transformations or even chaotic to force that energy into your divine alignment that makes, of course, the etheric energy manifest physically as dramatic shifts towards one's highest truth. So obviously the big idea of having this frequency in here is to impeccably align the divine alignment of one's dharma, if you would, or divine path. But yet it has all the transmutation and stabilization subroutines to get the most out of it, to mitigate any kind of volatile energy exchanges that moldavite has become quite infamous for. And underneath that, right here, is seraphinite. Seraphinite is a green ray stone of the seraphim archangels, hence is named after that aspect, that strongly imbues the entire I am chakra column of the entire chakra column with archangel frequency throughout the entire auric field, which rapidly disbands any kind of energy codes of dis-ease through the entire auric chakra matrix. So obviously that's very, very beneficial towards any kind of healing modality, and is a very powerful healing stone of the particularly green ray, but it actually stimulates the entire chakra column very effectively. And at the apex of the band right here, down here, well protected by other stones in the way, because fulgurite, petrified lightning, is rather fragile. So under here, wire wrapped into the main primary wire, is the power of lightning. Fulgurite dramatically intensifies the entire chakra column with the force of lightning caught in stone, which is great for general energy levels, of course, and also intensification of prayer. Hence, it was utilized by shamans of old to intensify their prayers to the divine, to manifest these aspects into reality. So having that frequency on a well-governed closed-loop circuit apparatus with a operating system, you get the most out of that lightning as well, which is a dramatic bolstering attention to the impulses that labradorite produces for a very powerful manifestation, prayer enhancement frequency. And to further complement the labradorite is its cousin sunstone, which is a Just like labradorite, a feldspar masculine variant which strongly stimulates the sacrum and solar plexus of benevolent archetypal masculine energy, which is very useful for the balance of the shadow aspect of labradorite, the masculine, then the feminine, which is rainbow moonstone right here. Just like labradorite and sunstone, they're actually all cousins, so they all resonate very well together for the purposes of the feldspar being the divine feminine. Just like labradorite, it makes a very powerful light prism shield of fortifying energy toward the entire auric field. And in tandem, you successfully have the engagement of masculine, feminine, and the veil or shadow aspects in one closed loop circuit. Okay, dokie. And before moving on to this section, which will actually have this brown leather wrapped around this hood up here, I will get into the selenite on both sides right here. Selenite by itself is very powerful for clearing stagnant energies of all kinds throughout the entire auric field, as well as it makes a very powerful higher self linkage of the 6th, 7th, and above chakras. But in the utilization of this kind of light tech device, it also takes an entire frequency pitch running through it. It will amplify, harmonize, and accelerate the frequencies all together in a harmonious way, which thereby enhances the vibratory intensity of this said magical, highly magical device, to put it lightly. Then right here is the black, orange, green, and blue kyanite spectrum, which rapidly develops bridges of energy throughout the entire auric field. Black ray obviously intensifies the contact patch of Mother Earth. The sacrum intensifies the sacral aspect of the orange right here to have the astral influence of one's highest self affecting their actions very powerfully, as well as a dramatic intensification of projective magic, if you would, with the orange kyanite. Green kyanite, of course, rapidly builds energy patterns throughout the heart chakra matrix through the receptive and projective palm chakras to rapidly transfer energy of their divine higher self energy as they draw upon for magical purposes into the auric field. The blue kyanite rapidly transfers energy throughout the mental centers, so also very useful for telepathic and different higher mind prefrontal lobe activations at very rapid rates. So the idea too, of course, with this device of having the 4 kyanite spectrums like so, is to rapidly transfer the energy of one's highest self template throughout the entire waking operating system of the auric field to ensure the highest contact patch at all times of one's highest self matrix for every given situation. So just like that being said, this device is very energy reactive to any situation that has occurred by the wielder. So hence the kyanites rapidly insulate and transfer the energy throughout the entire aura, which is very useful for, once again, transferring impulses of magic or quantum alterations or etheric manipulations throughout reality is highly enhanced and transferred very rapidly through the kyanite spectrums. Okay. So that is just the blade face on both sides. And before I forget, the main core utilizes oak from my lovely backyard. Oak is a very powerful stone of druidic knowledge of strength and has a very dense atomical rate to work as a wonderful platform for such a high yield frequency magical device to have that old school druidic touch of the embodiment of such magic in a stabilized, strong manner. And finally moving on to the section where this brown leather will be installed, which is technically the hood. Right here is red jasper, which stabilizes the earth element or root chakra in the chakra field. This is blue lace agate, which stabilizes the 5th chakra and is a water elemental stone. Here is moss green agate, which is another water elemental agate that stabilizes the 4th and base chakras to adhere to the etheric blueprint reset of one's highest self configuration, their optimized DNA structure. This right here is serpentine, locally sourced here from Mount Shasta, which has a nice Kundalini effect from the Earth stars all the way up to the chakra matrix. For it's very much a powerful light body activator in its own right, as well as a Kundalini stimulator. And this right here is fire agate. Fire agate stabilizes the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Very much the grounded in the body experience and zest for life frequency. This right here is black tektite. This is another extraterrestrial stone that is a product of a meteorite impacting sand, carrying that cosmic jolt of energy from its extraterrestrial nature, just like the fullerite carries that lightning frequency from a flash of lightning that hits sand. This carries the extraterrestrial input. So, black tektite is very stimulating to the Earth stars, the base, and all the way so on. It's a very powerful light body activation stone, but luckily it's a black ray stone that has a very strong Earth, feet up contact patch stimulation. This right here is shungite. Shungite is another black ray stone of carbon-based nature that is very effective for purifying the subtle DNA, as well as being a wealthy EMF inhibitor. Very much in vogue in this age to make a very, once again, contact patch of the earth plane and a purification, almost like a charcoal filter, if you would, through the entire energy system. This right here is ruby and zoisite. It's a wonderful synergistic combination of the ruby, of the premier red ray base chakra activation stone in the mineral kingdom, just about, and combined with zoisite, which actually is a green cousin to tanzanite. So zoisite has a lovely heart-mind coherence activation as well. When you have the combination of the ruby, the heart, and the mind in one frequency to encourage one's highest template and ground it into the physical plane, it makes a very powerful dynamic shifting towards one's higher self blueprint manifest in physical, which is obviously self-evident and very, very awesome to really have incorporated in such a device. And this right here is petalite. Petalite is a lithium-based clear stone that makes a very lovely soothing to the mind frequency, as well as having the higher witness perspective of the situation at hand being perceived through the wielder of this device. So, lovely stone of calm emanation, producing a serene, higher self witness perception for all endeavors of the mortal life. And this right here is tanzanite. Oh, sorry. I was looking at this while I said that. This is Larimar. Larimar is a lovely water and fire elemental stone that has a very nice stimulation of the 5th and 6th chakras to bring a very much powerful oasis of calm energy in the field, as well as a very lovely stone of wisdom and impeccability of the 5th chakra, and also voice projection for this purpose, and a very soothing, calming 5th ray influence. I believe that covers all of the guys under the hood. And right here is the main engine. This guy right there is golden healer quartz. So the main engine of that aspect too is that the gold white light Christ frequency of connection of source of creation is the main engine. So all these other subroutines run right through this topical engine right here to ensure the Christ frequency is adhered to, which is the source of creation, which is, of course, the foundation of sorcery. Which this talisman is very much a talisman of sorcery, based on its high labradorite, veil-piercing magical concentration. And that concludes the mineral composition. And it's all wired wrapped to one single primary wire consisting of copper, brass, and silver like so. So every single frequency here is grounded to one primary wire to create a closed loop circuit. And the copper is a very powerful earth bandwidth high frequency energy. The silver is very receptive lunar, and the brass is actually a zinc copper smelting alloy that has a very fiery connotation. So thereby it has a very powerful stimulation to the receptive, projective, and the earth bandwidths in triangulation to this single primary wire, making a closed loop circuit throughout the entire apparatus of this device. So in conclusion, this device is very versatile, to say the least, and that it ensures one's wielders of intuition to be impeccable, and to be easily accessible to the conscious self for the benefit of those they serve, and to ensure that one's highest energy magical path is being adhered to throughout the entire operation of the auric field stimulation this device produces. Well, 1,000 blessings, and thank you for anybody watching this enduring the complexities of the jargon of this video. And have a great day.